Affect Autism, 10 years and counting, committed to autism advocacy, empowering you with DIRFloortime. Welcome to the We Chose Play podcast. As we celebrate 10 years of Affect Autism, let's revisit some of our older blog posts, giving them a fresh update. In this episode, you'll hear a renewed version with updated insights and new perspectives. Let's dive in. You're listening to the We Chose Play podcast from Affect Autism, where affect is the #1 tool we use in supporting development through playful interactions. Starting DIRFloortime with your child. Where is your child developmentally? November 5th, 2015. Last time, we helped you determine your child's sensory profile, or part of their individual differences, the I in DIR. We need to keep these differences in mind in every interaction with your child, and especially in floor time. The next step in starting floor time with your child will involve using the DIRFloortime checklist to determine where your child is developmentally, the D. This will help you target your interactions with your child within your warm, safe, and nurturing relationship, the R. Recall that neurotypical children acquire these functional, emotional, developmental capacities, FEDCs, from birth through to age 4 or 5, but in children with developmental differences, they may or may not happen differently at a much slower rate and or much later. Take a look at the basic checklist by clicking the link in the box at the blog post, and it should give you a general idea of what your child is capable of, at least for some of the time. Children can have some elements in many of the FEDCs, but not all of the time, so there are gaps in development that we aim to fill in over time. Look at the first functional emotional developmental capacity, or FEDC1. We want to facilitate regulation, shared attention, and interest between you and your child. In order to do this, we need to know in what environment the child is most comfortable. If certain sensations are unpleasant for your child, they will find it too difficult to share attention with you because they will be distracted and won't be able to regulate their emotions. They will seem to be unavailable to us because they are struggling to process sensory input. Understanding their child's capacity for regulation is often the greatest challenge for parents. However, Dr. Stanley Greenspan never met a child they couldn't engage in some way. You should know best how to comfort your child and avoid what sets them off. If you don't, you need to keep searching as described in detail a few blog posts back. Shared attention and regulation is the cornerstone for doing floor time with a child in the DIR model. It is very challenging to move a child along developmentally if they are finding it too challenging to share attention with us and remain regulated. This does not mean that if your child is always having meltdowns, you cannot ever facilitate moments of higher developmental capacities. It just means that you need to promote higher capacities only in the moments when your child is available for shared attention and regulated. So for many of us, the bulk of time with our children will be finding ways to help them feel safe and regulated in order to share attention with us. For now, let's just note how often your child seems to feel regulated and how often you get moments of shared attention with them. Disclaimer. Please note that the information on this website is not to be taken as professional advice and is for illustrative purposes only. Please consult with a professional for specific recommendations for your own child, rather than listening to this podcast as direct advice. I want to stress how important the first capacity of feeling safe and regulated is in DIRFloortime. The onus is on us to provide the environment for our child that feels safe, because constrictions at this first capacity will follow children with developmental differences throughout their school years and will make it very difficult for them to be comfortable in a school setting and other social settings which are not set up to their individual profiles. Most places are not set up to their individual profiles, and we will need to advocate for them until they are able to advocate for themselves. But in the meantime, we can foster this capacity at home. It should be the cornerstone of all you do with your child at home, and the most important factor raised with your child's school, so they can also have the tools to support your child each day. Please don't let this overwhelm you, but rather empower you. Once you learn how to support your child's regulation, you will gain confidence and will become a routine in your life. Sometimes respecting the child's need for movement, the I, to support the first developmental capacity of regulation is enough to get shared attention required to playfully promote back and forth interactions. It gives the child the vestibular input their body is craving in order to feel at ease so they can focus on other things. In the coming blog posts, we'll cover many examples of how to support your child's regulation. The key here is to keep in mind that this is always your main goal in DIR floor time. See the photo at the blog post of the boy playing in the sand. He seems very at ease and regulated. However, with our children, we want to see if they'd remain just as happy playing alone if nobody was with them. While we certainly want to allow our children time alone to explore, it's also important for us to playfully entice our children to share what they're experiencing with us and interact with us. You can never spend too much time interacting with your child in a floor time way, which promotes their capacities for relating and communicating with others. This does not mean that if your child is enjoying calmly sensory-based play that you should dysregulate them if they seem distressed by your attempts to interact. Instead, find a respectful, playful, and enjoyable way to join them in what they are doing once they have enjoyed their regulating sensory play. Dr. Stanley Greenspan also suggested getting a neighborhood teenager or other family members who can appreciate your child's individual differences and respectfully interact with them to play with your child if you are busy. We won't get into the details of the other functional emotional developmental capacities, the FEDCs, until we begin to talk about what to do in floor time. But for now, you can make note of what capacities you see your child exhibiting in each FEDC from the checklist, because that will be important going forward. Again, the checklist is at the blog post. In the coming blog posts, we'll cover actually doing floor time. We'll start next time by using the information about the individual differences and shared attention and regulation to start a floor time session.
Until next time, here's to choosing play and experiencing joy every day.